The Bengals are 7-4. They've won 3 straight games. So, well, what's next? Are they a legitimate AFC contender? What can we expect from them in December? Let's dive into it as I rock my Rivertown Inquiry swag. Hi again, everyone, and welcome in to Cincinnati Bengals Talk. I'm James Rapien of allbengals.com. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, go to rivertowninquiry.com and get some cool gear like this nice crew neck, which is ever so comfy as I record from my home office. Let's dive into it because the Bengals, they're 7-2 after starting 0-2. They've officially dug themselves out of the hole that they put themselves in to start the season. And as of now, they're the 6th seed in the AFC playoff race. They're tied with the Ravens in the AFC North. And just like that, boom, an ugly start, inconsistency to start the season. It's gone, and they're back to where, or at least around where we expected them to be, despite Chidobe Awuzie going down, despite Jamar Chase missing 4 games, despite Joe Mixon missing time and DJ Reader missing a significant portion of the season. A lot of these guys are coming back. And something Joe Burrow said, and I posted that on Instagram Reels, which, by the way, you should follow us on Instagram, Cincinnati Bengals Talk. Check us out on Facebook as well. I posted the reel. He said, look, we're getting guys back. We're getting healthy. And, it's time to make the push now, essentially. And I'm paraphrasing exactly what he said. It was like a 6-second clip. It's up, though. Point is this Bengals team should have another gear. And so when I look at expectations for this season, coming in, it was all about, man, can you imagine if this offensive line gives Joe Burrow time? Can you imagine if this rushing attack can take flight with a revamped offensive line? The defense, not really worried about the defense. And yeah, there's a question mark at cornerback, but Cam Taylor-Britt seems to be advancing. I thought Eli Apple played pretty well the other day as well, so they deserve credit. You still have Von Bell, you still have Jesse Bates, so you feel pretty good about that defense and that secondary. So on offense, well, when they got off to the slow start, it was like, okay, well, what is this team? Is this offensive line just not good? What did you see the other day? Did you see what they did the other day? Because I don't think they were as good as we initially thought in the win over the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that was a lot of Burrow magic. But against the Titans, they were able to not only hold their own, but keep Burrow upright. Open holes for P. Ryan, who averaged 4.4 yards per carry until that last drive where everyone knew they were going to run. And, his yards per carry dropped a bit with, 3 runs for like 2 yards or something like that because the Titans were loading up the box and the Bengals were trying to run the clock out. This Bengals offense should have another gear. And so when I talk about expectations for the 6-game stretch, where you play Kansas City, and we're going to have so much on this matchup. Of course, we'll be there at Paycor Stadium this week. You play the Browns, then you go to Tampa and play what's going to be a desperate Tom Brady, Tampa Bay Buccaneers team. Then you go on the road and play Bill Belichick and the Patriots. So back-to-back road games against Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. Then you come home for the Bills and stay home for the Ravens. That's a tough stretch. It's a tough slate. But there was a path coming into the year where the Bengals won the AFC. There was a path coming into the year where the Bengals won 12 games, 13 games, were flying high and just cruised at the start of the year. The offensive line gelled. Joe Burrow doesn't have appendicitis right before camp and doesn't have to have that surgery where it ruptures and then suddenly, boom, it's a major surgery and it's a big deal and he loses 20 pounds and it's just a whole, rush job essentially to get him back for week 1. And I'm not saying he was in danger of playing week 1, but he clearly wasn't himself week 1. So all of these factors happened. And so the Bengals start 0-2. Since then, they're 7-2. And so the message that Zach Taylor has put out there is, well, they got to play us. And I think it's a good message. Dan Orlovsky, ESPN, saying every team in the NFL should be scared to death. The Bengals should scare the hell out of every team in the NFL, essentially. They should. Because this Bengals team has won 5 of 6 without having Jamar Chase for 4 games, not having DJ Reader for 4 of those games, losing Chidobe Awuzie in the middle of that streak in that loss to the Browns. The tragic death of Adam Zimmer, rest in peace, a assistant coach on this staff. All of these factors. And you look up and they're 7-4 and they seem to be hitting their stride. Joe Burrow's playing at a high level. The offensive line is as good as the Bengals have had over the past couple of weeks that I can remember really since the 2015 season. I mean, the Bengals offensive line has been bad for more than half a decade. And so this stretch, it looks like they could be the line that everyone hoped. And if that happens and Jamar Chase comes back, and yeah, I know there's some Joe Mixon, Samaje Perine talk right now. Let's just chill a little bit. I think Samaje Perine deserves reps. I certainly think he's effective. And I think you can platoon both guys, keep Joe Mixon fresh, and use Perine on pass blocking in a pass blocking role, as well as not a backup role, but an RB2 role with Mixon. But should he get more reps? Sure. It doesn't mean Mixon shouldn't get reps either. And so getting Mixon back, getting Chase back, this offense has another gear. And they're certainly going to need it. And I've said it really all year, if this Bengals team is going to make another Super Bowl run, make another AFC Championship game run, heck, win the AFC North, this offense was going to have to be better than it was a year ago where it was inconsistent. And it's been inconsistent this year, but that floor's starting to rise. I mean, the fact that they played the way they did against Tennessee, the fact that they played the way they did in Pittsburgh with no Jamar, and, you lose Mixon, late in that game, or early in that game, rather, like 8 minutes to go in the second quarter. And they're finding ways right now. And so when you can find ways in tough situations, that's going to make it I don't want to say easier, but you're going to get big plays when Jamar Chase is on the field. You're going to get big plays when T. Higgins is on the field opposite Jamar Chase. Tyler Boyd will no longer get triple teamed when Jamar Chase comes back on third down, which the Titans did. Joe Goodberry pointed it out. By the way, Bengals on the brain with Joe Goodberry Tuesday night. It's defensive focused, how they stop Derrick Henry. That's why I'm focusing partially on the offense right now. Because this defense, I think we know what we're going to get from this defense. That doesn't mean they're not going to get beat up a little bit by Patrick Mahomes and company. It's a tough offense to guard against. That's a tough offense to stop. But if the Bengals are going to deliver this season and fulfill all of those expectations, those high, big expectations that Bengals fans had coming into the year, it's going to be because this offense continues to take steps forward. Because I'm not sure there's an offense scarier right now than the Bengals with a healthy Jamar Chase, with Burrow playing the way he is, with this offensive line playing the way he is, Tyler Boyd in the slot, Hayden Hurst at tight end, T. Higgins, wide receiver 1A on the other side, back-to-back 100-yard games. Just think about that. Flip it, right? Because we're going to talk a lot about Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes and all of the ancillary pieces that the Chiefs have. You could talk about the Bills and Josh Allen and Gabe Davis and obviously Stephon Diggs and all the ancillary pieces they have. The Bengals are ahead of that group. They're ahead of the Chiefs on paper. And that should scare the hell out of other teams. That should put the fear in opposing defensive coordinators. And it's about the Bengals to continue to build on it because they could have the best offense in the league. When I think about expectations now, it's like, okay, it took a while, but now I expect this team to show me another gear over the next 6 weeks. Show me another level over the next 6 weeks. Find that right now they're in fifth gear and they're moving on the highway. Press that clutch in, boom, hit sixth. Maybe it's an 8-speed. Maybe you're hitting seventh or eighth. Maybe you have multiple gears here that we haven't seen yet because they were a flawed offense last year. I think they're better this year. I think they're more battle-tested this year. I think they're more rugged and can win in different ways. They can certainly protect much, much better. They can open up holes and win without. Last year, I don't think they would have been able to win without Jamar Chase. This year, they're 3-1 without him. What happens when you get him back? What happens when you get him back? Well, you would hope that they take another step forward. It's going to be interesting. Huge, huge test this weekend against the Chiefs at Paycor Stadium. We will be at Paycor Stadium on Wednesday for Joe Burrow, for Zach Taylor, for Locker Room. It's going to be a big one. And if you missed any of our coverage of the Titans game, make sure you check it out, because not only did we get locker room interviews, not only did we get, Joe Burrow and Zach Taylor after the game, but my post-game stand-up instant reaction to that. And we had Tyler Boyd and Von Bell on Monday, along with another Zach Taylor update where Jamar Chase, I'm talking like he's back, because he's going to play this week. It's pretty certain, barring something really unforeseen, that he's going to suit up. And he went through an entire pregame routine, looked great on Sunday. So I think he's going to be good to go. And we'll see on Joe Mixon, but it feels like the direction is pointing up for him, and the arrow is pointing up for him, and he's going in the right direction. So we'll see about those two guys. But if they're back, which you do need both of them, it's going to be one heck of a game on Sunday at Paycor Stadium. The Bengals will wear orange. The same orange that they wore against the Chiefs when they clinched the AFC North title last December in Week 17. So I guess it was early January. It was probably early January, actually, when they did that, when Joe Burrow trotted off the field, his nameplate gone, throwing up his hands, orange jerseys, black pants, orange stripes for your Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, tell every Bengals fan you know about Cincinnati Bengals talk. Let's keep growing this brand. And speaking of brands, you got to get to Rivertown Inquiry for some Cincinnati swag. There's plenty of great quality pieces there at rivertowninquiry.com. So for Andrew Fox Miller, our channel coordinator, I'm James Rapien, signing off for now on CBT, Cincinnati Bengals Talk.